you can build an impressive short-term rental business from the ground up with a little help from John and Jeanette. These successful Airbnb and VRBO hosts have experienced and documented the blood, sweat, and tears it can take to really stand out from the pack.
Welcome to Stand Out.
Well, welcome everybody to our very first introductory podcast. I'm John.
I'm Jeanette.
And welcome to Stand Out Hosting. Stand Out Hosting is the podcast that we wish we could have found when we were starting our journey with the short-term rental that we own here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Jeanette, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you?
Okay, so I am John's wife. I am a retired civil engineer, and so this short-term rental project is kind of my job now, and I'm loving it.
Indeed you are. And our guests are loving you right back, as a matter of fact. I'm John, and I own a creative agency in Wilmington, North Carolina, and Raleigh, North Carolina. But most importantly, we are a short-term rental owner. We own a really cool property that we'll talk about throughout this podcast and episodes to come. Super excited about sharing the kind of things that we went through and what we learned. We get asked all the time from our friends and our family and even our guests, how you did it, how'd you get this up and running? So that's exactly what we're going to be sharing as we create this podcast and take this journey together. Very, very first episode, we're actually going to dive right into, how do you pick the right AirBNB, VRBO type property before you even own it, before you even buy it, while you're still looking for a property. What should you think about? And sure, some of you might already own your property already, but there's still some really great stuff even in those early episodes that will help you. Jeanette next week's going to talk after that. It's going to talk a little bit about, believe it or not, sheets and towels and how to keep them up and labeling and storage, things like that. And we're also going to dive into the cleaning crews and lessons learned on the cleaning side and the importance of your cleaning group.
I would say cleaning is one of the most important things when it comes to short-term rentals. So that's going to be really important that you have a good cleaning crew and a good plan of attack there. Some of the other things, little things that you don't think about at first, but you got to have dishes, appliances, furniture. You got to have all the things that you would want when you go on vacation somewhere. So we'll talk about that and about how to make it just extra special and just make people just feel like they're well taken care of. Other things, in Wilmington, North Carolina, outdoor living is huge. So we'll be talking a little bit about that and some staging and styling, photography, another huge thing, which John knows a lot about.
Absolutely, Jeanette, on photography. We might get a little preachy in that episode just because there may be nothing that's more important out of everything we talk about than really getting amazing photography and photographs, video even, of your property. If you want to get those first few months really rock and rolling and getting those folks in there and staying at your place and giving you the great reviews, you got to have the best lure out there to catch the best fish. And in my opinion, the photography is a big piece of that. We're going to talk about honesty and accuracy in your listings, pricing strategies, advertising strategies.
And then when you get your first inquiry, what do you do? And your first guest and your first review. These are really, really important. So we'll talk about that and what happened to us and how we navigated all of that.
We may need an entire episode on our first guest. It was great. It was a 5-star review. It was our first guest. It was everything that could have gone wrong, but didn't. And it'll be a good story for a later time. We're going to talk in future episodes about charity, like for auctions and things like that, where you're donating your space and how to maneuver that and keep yourself safe. At some point you're going to get really busy. Right now you're looking for a property. You're worried about, am I going to get anybody to be interested in my property? There's going to be a day where you're so busy that things like linking your calendars across these platforms becomes super important because you don't want to double book. We're going to talk a lot about the guidebook or the binder, if you will, that sits in your property. And we'll probably even make that ours available if somebody wants to use it as a template at some point.
I would say that having a husband who is in the ad business, the marketing business with all of those strengths, that really helped because he was able to put together a kind of a fun, interesting, informative booklet that I think it's easy to read and it's fun and it has a lot of information. So the more you can put into your book, the better, and do it in a fun and interesting way. So we'll talk about that too.
And we'll put that up on the site when that episode comes up. No matter who you're married to, we're here to help you stand out with your short-term rental process. One of the common themes you'll hear throughout our podcast is this concept of surprise and delight. If there's one thing you take away from even this introduction, just delighting that customer really does matter. It makes a difference. And you got to think like you're in the hospitality business, not like you're in the real estate business when you do this.
So the way I think about it is they're my guests. And I want them to have a wonderful time. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel like they have everything at their fingertips and just be relaxed and having fun. So if you think of your guests as people that you would have in your home, I think you're going to be really successful and you'll have fun too.
I'm pretty sure tears were shed after our first guest. And since then, we've met some really great people. We're not best friends with our guests. We probably would not recommend that. But you really get excited about taking care of them and having them have the kind of experience you would hope to have in your short-term rental experience if you were the vacationer or the visitor, if you will. So all this to say, you need to stand out with your property to be successful in this short-term rental business that you're thinking about getting in.
We're so glad you're here, and we can't wait to share what we've learned so far. See you next time.
See you next time here on Stand Up Hosting.